The women behind Hygienic Hijabs made for Muslims in healthcare. 29 people died in Texas jail in roughly 12 months. The Muslim Bookstagram Awards 2022 winners. Jordan summons Israeli ambassador after envoy blocked from Al-Aqsa Mosque. Human Rights Watch accuses Bangladesh's police of abusing Rohingya refugees. The last Nizam of Hyderabad, Dakkan, was buried today. From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana, Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Former President Donald Trump on Monday railed against evangelical Christian leaders who have not yet pledged support for his 2024 presidential run. In an interview with Real America's Voice reporter David Brody, Trump chastised leaders such as Robert Jeffress who haven't given him their endorsement. That's despite Trump making their decades-long dream of overturning Roe v. Wade come true by appointing 3 right-wing Supreme Court justices, he said. Trump called it a sign of disloyalty. He blamed evangelicals for appearing to stay home during the 2022 midterm elections. Trump acknowledged overturning the Roe ruling boosted the Democratic turnout. But he also blamed hardline evangelicals for pushing too hard on the abortion issue. He said he believes exceptions for cases of rape or incest should be included in any anti-abortion legislation. Authorities have detained a former Republican candidate for the New Mexico House for shooting at the homes of Democrats in the state. Albuquerque police took Solomon Pena into custody on Monday. Pena is accused of conspiring with and hiring 4 men to shoot at the homes of 2 county commissioners and 2 state legislators, Police Chief Harold Medina said. Pena lost his 2022 election bid for State House District 14. He paid the men cash and sent text messages with addresses where he wanted them to shoot at the homes, Albuquerque police said. The shootings did not result in any injuries. Family members and community activists are demanding an investigation into a Texas jail in the wake of 29 deaths there within about a year. 2 people died at Houston's Harris County Jail in 2023, the Houston Chronicle reports. Last year, 27 people died there, at the highest number in almost 2 decades. The deaths came amid concerns of unsafe conditions at the jail, which has experienced overcrowding, a staffing shortage, and charges of abuse and neglect. The Jailhouse Justice Coalition held a vigil Sunday calling for Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg to launch a special investigation into the deaths. The Muslim Bookstagram Awards 2022 winners are in. The Best Muslim Board Book Award went to Mama Once Told Me by Sharifa Husseina Madihid. It features Iman, a mischievous Singaporean boy who is just trying to follow the Sunnah. The Best Muslim Picture Book Award winner is Abdul's Story by Jamila Tompkins Bigelow. It tells a powerful tale about a little boy who loves storytelling but struggles with writing. Other awardees are Nadia and Nadir, Hurricane Helpers, which won the award for Best Muslim Early Read, Bhai for Now by Maliha Siddiqui for Best Muslim Middle Grade Book, Hannah's Hundreds of Hijabs by Razina Omar Gutta, illustrated by Manal Mirza, won for Best Muslim Illustrations, Love from Makkah to Medina by S.K. Ali, and As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zulfa Katu won the Best Muslim Young Adult or Adult. Journey of the Midnight Sun by Shazia Afzal won Best Muslim Nonfiction Book, and the Muslim Reader's Choice Award went to a Libyan retelling of Pride and Prejudice, A Second Look by Hannah Matus. Healthcare workers Yasmin Samatar and Faraoli Adam wanted to help keep Muslim healthcare workers and patients safe. That led the duo to create a special line of hygienic hijabs. After traveling and working together in cities heavily hit by COVID-19 cases, the women found significance in making the sterilized head coverings. They realized Muslim women, such as themselves, had no access to protective equipment. Adam said Muslim healthcare workers were left out because nobody thought about making personal protective equipment for them. This is why the women launched their company Mawadda after securing a supplier and raising $10,000. They developed disposable hijab designs, including one that features an adjustable elastic band around the face area that can be easily pulled over. Another design is a wrap that fits all sizes. The UN Special Envoy for Yemen on Monday said he sees an intensification of regional and international diplomatic activity in resolving the crisis in the country. Hans Grunberg urged the warring sides for a shared vision to avoid a return to a full-blown conflict. He told the UN Security Council the parties must make the most of the space for dialogue provided by the absence of large-scale fighting. He has been in continued contact with the parties and regional countries. Grunberg thanked Saudi Arabia and Oman for their diplomatic efforts. He said the overall military situation in Yemen has remained stable, but Grunberg also cited limited military activity around front lines in Marib, Taiz, Dali, Hodeidah, and Lahj provinces. Such military activities also resulted in civilian casualties, he said. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths, a former UN envoy to Yemen, said humanitarian needs remain alarmingly high as Yemen's economy weakens. Jordan summons Israeli ambassador after envoy is blocked from Al-Aqsa Mosque. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. Jordan summoned the Israeli ambassador on Tuesday to protest police obstruction of the kingdom's envoy during his visit to Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied East Jerusalem. The Jordanian Foreign Ministry said the Israeli envoy was handed a strongly worded letter of protest to be delivered immediately to his government. The letter included a reminder that the Jordan-run Jerusalem Waqf Department has exclusive authority to supervise Jerusalem's holy sites. Sinan Majali, Jordanian ministry spokesman, said Israel must adhere to its obligations under international law and the international humanitarian law. The occupied city of Jerusalem and its sanctities, especially the Al-Aqsa Mosque, are protected sites. Majali said Israel must put a stop to attempts to change the historic status quo in occupied Jerusalem. A British citizen who was tortured in custody at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center has dedicated his life to the rehabilitation of other detainees. Nizam Beg has been fighting for the protection of detainees' rights since his release. Beg was kept at Guantanamo for 2 years in the aftermath of the September 11, 2001 terror attacks in the U.S. He spoke to Andalou Agency on the 21st anniversary of the opening of the prison in Cuba. Beg said he moved to Afghanistan with his family in 2001 to work for a school building project. In 2002, he and his family went to Pakistan, his wife's homeland. Beg said he was taken from his home the same year by Pakistani intelligence and CIA agents. 3 leading international aid agencies have partially resumed activities in Afghanistan after the Taliban administration's assurance to allow female workers. CARE, Save the Children, and International Rescue Committee are resuming their work in Afghanistan. These NGOs suspended operations in December after the Taliban banned women from working in local and international aid organizations. CARE said it is resuming health and nutrition operations in Afghanistan after obtaining the necessary assurances from the Ministry of Public Health. Its female staff will be able to carry out work safely and unfettered in community-based and support roles. Save the Children and International Rescue Committee also announced they will partially resume operations along with local Afghan female staff. The IRC said it has restarted health and nutrition services in 4 provinces. Save the Children is also resuming health, nutrition, and some education services, but a majority of programs will remain on hold. Human Rights Watch on Tuesday accused Bangladesh's police of abusing Rohingya refugees in the country's southern border district of Cox's Bazar. In a report published Tuesday, the watchdog group said Bangladesh's armed police battalion is committing extortion, arbitrary arrest, and harassment of Rohingya refugees. These refugees are already facing violence from criminal gangs and armed groups. It called for pressing Bangladeshi authorities to investigate the alleged abuses. The group quoted Rohingya refugees who say there is collusion between officers of this specialized Bangladeshi police unit and armed groups and gangs operating in camps. Bangladesh is hosting more than 1.2 million Rohingya refugees in 33 congested camps. Most of these persecuted people fled the 2017 Burmese military's genocide of the Rohingya in Rakhine State. Speaking to Andalou News Agency, commander of the Bangladeshi Police's battalion, Naeem ul-Haq, denied the charges against the force by Human Rights Watch. He claimed the report was based on exaggerations and unauthorized social media posts. Morocco has developed Africa's first tests for breast cancer and leukemia. The Moroccan Foundation for Advanced Science, Innovation and Research developed the first domestic cancer tests that may significantly reduce cost and wait times. In most of the continent's 54 countries, diagnostic kits are imported from Europe or North America. This requires time and money that many hospitals in poorer nations may not have, with kits often taking weeks or months to arrive. It also takes time to receive results for some cancer tests, as they have to be exported back to Europe for diagnosis. The new leukemia test has already been used on 400 people and can gather results in a few hours. Prince Mukarram Jah was buried today next to the Makkah Masjid compound in Hyderabad, Dakkan. The 89-year-old was the 8th Nizam, or monarchical leader of Hyderabad. He died Saturday in Istanbul. Mukarram Jah's death ended the Asaf Jahi dynasty of the Hyderabad Dakkan Kingdom, founded in 1724. He was the grandson of Mir Usman Ali Khan. Prince Mukarram Jah's mother was the daughter of the last Khalifa of the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Abdul Majid II. The Hyderabad Dakkan Kingdom was the successor of the Mughal Empire, which preserved Islamic culture in the Indian subcontinent. The Nizams of Hyderabad also funded the maintenance of Haramain Sharifain at Mecca and Medina before the Arab oil funds transformed Saudi Arabia. In 1948, India invaded Hyderabad. That invasion killed 27,000 to 40,000 Hyderabadi civilians, according to Indian government records. However, scholars estimate more than 200,000 people died in that invasion. Pakistan's official maps still show Hyderabad as a part of Pakistan. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. To talk about campaigns focused on aviation fuel sales to the Burmese military, let's go to Edward Ahmed Mitchell. Over to you, Edward.
Thank you, Samana. Now we move to a discussion of Myanmar. Many of you know this has been something that has haunted the Muslim community around the world to hear about the suffering of the Rohingya people, but it's also been something of relevance to countries around the world because of the political conflict there, the return of the dictatorship in full force. What's the latest in Myanmar? And to discuss these issues, I want to welcome on our special guest, Simon Billenness, who is the Executive Director of the International Campaign for the Rohingya. Simon, thank you so much for coming. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So first, give us an update on the situation in Myanmar, also known as Burma. What's the status of the government there? What's the status of the Rohingya people? Just what's the latest overview of what's happening in that country?
Well, we're approaching the second anniversary of the February 1st military coup. And even after almost 2 years, the military has not been able to solidify its grip on the country. They're fighting wars on many fronts, not just against different ethnic minorities in the borderlands, but also they're fighting ethnic Burmans in the Central Valleys as well. So what we've been seeing is increasing use by the military of airstrikes, hitting both military and civilian targets. There have been at least, in the last month, at least 4 in different parts of the country, in Kachin State, Chin State, and as recently as yesterday in Karen State in the southeast.
Simon, thank you for that update on the situation there. So next, let me ask you, U.S. government policy towards Myanmar right now, where is that at? Because during the Obama administration, there was a building up of relationships as Myanmar moved more towards democracy. Obviously, that is no longer the case right now. So what's U.S. foreign policy towards Myanmar like right now?
Well, we saw under the previous administration, after the attacks on the Rohingya in August of 2017, that pushed over 700,000 Rohingya refugees into Bangladesh. That's when you saw a turning point in U.S. policy and growing pressure by both the administration and Congress to put pressure on the Myanmar military for its genocide against the Rohingya and also its other war crimes against other ethnic minorities in the rest of the country.
Simon, now let's talk about the corporate world and their involvement in what's happening in Myanmar. Myanmar is getting fuel for their jets from somewhere, and I understand that your organization is calling on ExxonMobil to stop providing fuel to Myanmar to use on their jets. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, this is where we can go after and stop these airstrikes that the Myanmar military is committing on civilians. And it's to cut off, our goal is to cut off their supply of aviation fuel. And so there was an excellent report by Amnesty International recently called Deadly Cargo. And they outlined what oil companies were involved in selling oil, what shipping companies transported it, and what insurance companies would provide financial services to facilitate this trade. And 3 companies jumped out at us as companies that we could affect and we could put pressure on to stop this flow. And they're ExxonMobil, Chevron, and PetroChina. All 3 of these companies, we are now a target of a campaign that we and others are waging to get them to commit to stop selling aviation fuel to the Myanmar military.
Have these companies responded at all to this call, or are they just putting up a brick wall?
I mean, there's some. If you look at the Amnesty International report, Deadly Cargo, there is some correspondence between Amnesty and these companies, but it's very clear that they haven't ruled out stopping selling aviation fuel to the Myanmar military. And so we're going to, press forward with our campaign until they comprehensively commit to stop doing so.
If people want to support this campaign, is there anything they can do just to support your organization or to raise awareness about it?
Definitely go to our website at the International Campaign for the Rohingya. It's at rohingyacampaign.org. And we have actions and petitions that you can use to put direct pressure on companies. And also, we do a lot of work organizing grassroots lobbying of Congress, which, as you know, last month helped lead to the passage of the Burma Act through Congress as an amendment to a spending bill. And now that's in the hands of the administration to actually implement. But there's a lot of things that people can do. And if people have a little bit of time or a little bit of money, we can put that to good work.
And Simon, while we've got you, tell us more about the Burma Act and what the administration is now authorized to do to address the situation.
Yeah, it authorizes the administration to support the National Unity Government of Myanmar, the Democratic Government in Exile, and other civil society and pro-democratic groups, and to go as far as even providing non-lethal aid to the NUG and to ethnic armed organizations inside Myanmar. It also puts pressure on the administration to impose sanctions on the state-owned and now hunter-controlled oil company, Myanmar Oil and Gas Enterprises. This is the company that's in a partnership with Chevron and is a major source of revenue for the military, money that they use to buy the aviation fuel and buy their guns.
Understood. Well, it looks like things are moving from your campaign to at least this big change in American foreign policy and in American law. So we look forward to hopefully hearing some positive news for the people of Myanmar, including the Rohingya people. And Simon, thank you for your work on these issues. We hope to have you back to keep us updated on this issue. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll send it back to you, Samana.
Thank you. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.